Good day, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Thesna Talks. So, I get that I sound hoarse, but I have a grandchild who thinks it's extremely funny when she's ill to come and cough in my face. So, please excuse the voice if it sounds rough. Today, I would briefly like to explain about microaggressions. So, microaggressions generally fall into three categories. You get micro assault, micro insult, and micro invalidation. Racial microaggressions are brief and commonplace daily verbal, behavioral, or environmental indignities, whether intentional or unintentional, that communicates hostile, derogatory, or negative slights and insults towards people of color. Perpetrators of microaggressions are often unaware that they engage in such communications when they interact with black or brown people. So let me go through this with you. A micro-assault is an explicit racial derogation characterized primarily by a verbal or non-verbal attack meant to hurt the intended victim through name-calling, avoidant behavior, or purposeful discriminatory actions. Referring to someone as an example as Oriental, using racial slurs, discouraging interracial interactions, deliberately serving a white patron before a black or brown person, and displaying a swastika as an example is some of those cases. Microassaults are most similar to what has been called old-fashioned racism, conducted on an individual level. They're most likely to be conscious and deliberate, although they're generally expressed in limited private situations, hence the word micro, that allow the perpetrator some degree of anonymity. In other words, people are likely to hold notions of black and brown inferiority privately and will only display them publicly when they either lose control or feel relatively safe to engage in a micro-assault. A micro-insult is characterized by communications that convey rudeness and insensitivity and demean a person's racial heritage or identity. Micro-insults represent subtle snubs, frequently unknown to the perpetrator, but clearly convey a hidden, insulting message to the recipient of color. When a white employer, as an example, tells a prospective candidate of color, I believe the most qualified person should get the job, regardless of race. Or when an employee of color is asked, so how did you get the job? The underlying message from the perspective of the recipient may be twofold. One, people of color are not qualified. And two, as a black and brown person, you must have obtained the position through some affirmative action. Hearing these statements, frequently when used against affirmative action, makes the recipient likely to experience them as aggressions. Micro-insults can also occur non-verbally, as when a white teacher fails to acknowledge students of color in the classroom, or when a white supervisor seems distracted during a conversation with a black employee by avoiding eye contact or turning away while they're talking. In this case, the message conveyed to the person of color is that their contributions are unimportant. Now, micro-invalidations are characterized by communications that exclude, negate, or nullify the psychological thoughts, feelings, or experiences of a person of color. When a black or brown person is told you are well-spoken, you're not like the others, or when a black and brown people are told, I don't see color, or we're all human beings, the effect is to negate their experiences as racial cultural beings. When a black or brown person experiences bad service and shares this with white friends, only to be told, don't be so sensitive, or don't be so petty, the racial experience is being nullified. And let me assure you that black and brown people do not go looking for these incidences. It just happens. And more often than not, it happens when black and brown people some of us aren't even aware that it happened. All they know is that they're left with a feeling that's slightly uncomfortable. And unless they're familiar with the term microaggressions, they may not have a word for it, but the feeling's there nonetheless. Again, my videos are not meant to slay anybody or to insult anyone. It's meant to bring an awareness of racism as a system, and also that we need to live consciously, because living consciously encourages us to treat one another in a manner that doesn't offend or insult. Let's be honest, you don't have to say everything that comes to mind. It's only appropriate to do that when you're a toddler. Next week, I'll be dealing with gender-based violence. So please join me then. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great day, everyone. Thank you.